All right, fantasy football managers, we are entering week 5 of the NFL season, and I know what all you are thinking. My fantasy team is banged up. We've lost a lot of players to injury, so I'm here to help you out with this. I'm Jacob Camenker from USA Today Sports. We're going to look at some of my top waiver wire pickups in the wake of injuries to Lamar Jackson, Tyreek Hill, and Malik Neighbors. We'll start off with the quarterbacks here. I think there are a couple of interesting guys to pick up off waivers. I think Jaxson Dart is probably the number one guy I'd be looking at right now, for no other reason than this guy has a high rushing floor. We saw that in his first start against the Chargers. He carried the ball 10 times for 54 yards and he scored a touchdown. So I think if you continue to see him run the ball at that kind of level, he's going to emerge as a guy who's going to be a quality streamer in good matchups. And he's got one in week 5 against the Saints. So don't be afraid to pick him up if Lamar Jackson misses this week. Same can be said of Sam Darnold. I know a lot of people coming into the season thought, hey, Sam Darnold, he might not end up being good behind this Seahawks offensive line. He's kind of bucked that trend and he's looked good the last few weeks. He's got 5 touchdowns over the last 3 weeks. He's starting to settle into that offensive system they have there in Clint Kubiak in Seattle. So I think I'm willing to trust him. He's going to be a high floor guy who's just going to get you a certain number of passing yards and a couple touchdowns probably every week. Now, moving on to the receivers, this is where it gets a little bit trickier to kind of find guys who are going to be high-end flex plays. I think one will be Wan'Dale Robinson from the New York Giants. He's probably going to be the guy that steps into that role to replace Malik Neighbors as the top target there. I know a handful of people will be looking at that and saying, hey, is Jaxson Dart really going to throw enough to make Wan'Dale Robinson a top-tier fantasy target? I would say yes, because Robinson is, for the second consecutive season, on pace for more than 100 targets, and he's averaging a career-high 13.2 yards per reception. So if he continues that, he should be a quality flex play. Same can be said of Romeo Doubs. He's emerged as Jordan Love's favorite target in Green Bay. He's been targeted in the red zone 6 times so far this season, and he's got 4 receiving touchdowns. So if that type of volume continues, Doubs is going to be a really good matchup-based play who has high-end touchdown upside. So that's the kind of guy where if you're looking for a wide receiver 3, plug him in there and just say, hey, if he finds the end zone, this could end up being a good week for me. And finally, if you're looking for an outside-the-box idea to replace Tyreek Hill and you're in a league where you can play multiple tight ends, don't hesitate to go after Darren Waller. He played his first game since the end of the 2023 NFL season against the New York Jets, and he looked pretty good. He only played 16 snaps, but he caught 3 passes for 27 yards, and most importantly, he had 2 touchdowns. Looks like Tua Tagovailoa is going to be comfortable throwing to him. Tua has always liked throwing to his tight ends, as we saw last year when Jonnu Smith was second on the Dolphins with 111 targets. So I think Waller has pretty good upside there. Feel free to scoop him up if you need a replacement for Tyreek Hill, or if you're just looking for a tight end to kind of upgrade your fantasy roster. So those are the 5 players you really need to consider adding on waivers. We'll see where they go from here, but don't be afraid to pick up these guys and make changes to your fantasy roster as we enter week 5 of the NFL season.